Horist here, and welcome to So There It Is. As you analyze politics, one of the things you always look at is fundraising. If you followed the news, you'll get kind of the highlights. Sanders did pretty well, got $33 million. He led the pack, which is pretty good for him since in terms of his popularity poll, he's either in third or fourth place, depending on what poll you look at. Warren came in second at about 25.7 million. Pete Buttigieg came in at 23.4 million. Harris came in at 10.5 million. A little surprising was Joe Biden. Now he's up by 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 points, whatever poll you're looking at. But he only brought in about $9 million. Now, some of that may be that maybe he's not attuned to the new way of raising money. Social media has made it very cheap and very possible to raise small donations. It wasn't worth sending out a piece of mail that would cost you printing and postage and everything to get a $5 donation. I mean, you wind up losing money. So what happens is today, we can send out solicitations, and God knows I get a lot of them in my email, and it doesn't cost anybody anything. And they can raise $5, $10, and $20. So you get a lot of small contributors. Now, the Democrats really broke through with this kind of fundraising, but the guy who really has perfected it is President Trump. While Bernie raised $33 million, President Trump raised $127 million. Now, if you put that in perspective, there are 18 candidates officially still running in the Democratic presidential primary. And if you add all of the money, all of them raised, it just is a smidgen more than the $127 million that President Trump raised. So he has as much money as the entire field of candidates has on the Democratic side. And his fundraising doesn't look like it's going to weaken. So, you can look at polls, you can look at issues, and those are important things, and we'll analyze those also. But if we just look at the fundraising, this is a phenomenal thing that Trump is doing compared to candidates who are actually doing pretty well themselves. But the question's going to be, how much is the money really going to benefit? Because everybody, there's a tendency, people say, oh, money's everything. The person with the most money, the person with the most money. The fact is, the person with the most money doesn't always win. Now, they will tell you in congressional races that people with the most money almost always win, but that's not because they have the most money. It's because the ones with the most money are generally the incumbents, and incumbents generally always win no matter how much money they have. So if we look at Biden, he's fifth in raising money, and he's first, way out ahead, in terms of the popularity polls. So money's not going to get it entirely, but it's kind of worth looking at. And of course, I always take a look then, I make a nice list, and I look at what are people in this race doing who are at 1% in the popularity polls, and while, let's say Bernie Sanders raised $35 million, Julian Castro may raise $700,000. He didn't even raise $1 million. Now he's saying if he doesn't raise some money pretty quickly, he's going to get out of the race. It really doesn't matter. Even if he raises the money and stays in, he's only delayed the time he's going to get out of the race. Sestak only raised $200,000. Who is Sestak? You don't know who he is. I don't even know who he is. Ryan, the congressman, he only raised $200,000. Well, he had the good sense to get out. He just got out today, as a matter of fact. And then there's Mason. He raised $31,000. I don't think he's going to be going anywhere. So anybody under $10 million, well, let's say $9 million so we can include Biden, anyone under $9 million is probably out of this race. And that includes people like Booker, Klobuchar, O'Rourke. Steyer, Gabbard, they're all going to be out of this race because they're not going to be able to afford to compete. Polls are one thing, but you've got to be able to have at least a minimum amount of money to compete. You don't have to have the most, but you have to have enough to at least keep open the doors. And those candidates don't have enough to keep open the doors. So what we're going to see in the next weeks and months is a consolidation. We're going to see a lot of dropouts. And what's going to be intriguing is when we see these dropouts, where are their votes going? And I'm going to make only one little prediction. I don't think it's going to be good news for Joe Biden. Not in money raising, not in poll numbers. I just don't think it'll be good for him. So there it is.